It's showtime, folks!
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back once again. Impact Wrestling fans, I'm here to talk Impact Wrestling. I'm a little later on this one, but I'm here. Impact Wrestling Slammiversary. Why? It made me incredibly proud as a wrestling fan. The Slammiversary was bananas. We're about to get into this. Feel free to subscribe to this channel if you like what you see. So I'm gonna get into this from a different perspective than you may see on most reviews right here. Not really a review. I'm gonna get into it in my own way. It's gonna be good. Stay around for it. So I'd say the first reason I was so proud of Slammiversary, I'm gonna go with the crowd. The crowd in Canada was just ridiculously good. Like Canada always presents the good crowd. You got your Canada, your Englands, New Yorks, Chicago's, Phillies. Hot crowds, always. And I know I'm missing something in that as well, but those are always hot crowds. Canada, hot crowd. You got Impact Wrestling chants. This is Impact chants. It was just a special thing to see as a wrestling fan, and as a person that's been following Impact Wrestling, it was just a special thing to see. Also, they delivered on the big stage. The guys and the gals delivered on the big stage. The Slammiversary is one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year. And everybody was watching, and look, they delivered. Because I look up and down the TL on Twitter timeline, excuse me, and everybody's showering them with praise. I'm talking about people who've never even watched Impact before. Just their first time getting to it, like, oh, look, this is great. Everybody showering them with praise. Also, straight wrestling in this show. We had our cutaways where there was some backstage interviews, nothing too complex. We had our setups for the match, but it was all about wrestling. They simply let them just go out and wrestle. And I cannot appreciate that anymore because as I kept saying in my preview, I kept saying that this could be the match of the night, this could be the match of the night, this could be the match of the night. And surely enough, we had a bunch of matches that were arguably the match of the night, whether you want to say it was the match, the four-way match with Johnny Impact, Ishimori, Phoenix, Petey Williams, the 51-50 street fight, the mask versus hair match. I knew that would be good, but goodness, I didn't think it would be that good. It was great. Or even the Impact World Championship match. It's another match where I knew it was going to be really good, but I didn't think it would be great. And it turned out to be great. So several matches of the night and good matches in between that as well. And I mean, at the end of the day, it left you with your money's worth. Feel like you got your money's worth at the end of the day. Like, I don't mean to bring WWE into this, but there's just sometimes when I sit back at the end of a WWE pay-per-view and I'm like, oh man, all that for that. 3 hours spent for nothing. Looking at this pay-per-view, it's like, man, those 3 hours flew by. Just like nothing, because I enjoyed every single minute of it. And every match had something. The Johnny Impact, Ishimori, Phoenix, Petey Williams match, that was just speed match. Pace from the opening bell to the end bell. Speed all the way up and down. I really enjoyed that one. It was a phenomenal opener. Tessa Blanchard versus Allie. The walking mean streak, Tessa Blanchard. That was a phenomenal match. It wasn't one of the best matches of the night because there were so many great ones, as I just said, but I enjoyed it. It really established Tessa Blanchard. She really needed a big win on a big stage, and this was it, and she got it. Now she's on her way eventually to the Knockouts title, the House of Hardcore match. There was brutality in that match. It was an old school ECW feel. We even had an ECW title. I had ringside, one of the fans, I don't know if there was a planned spot or not. It would be really cool if that wasn't a planned spot. They gave it to Tommy Dreamer. He knocked Eddie Edwards over the head with it. And that was a really good match as well. Well, I won't say really good match, but it was a good match that kept you invested into the show as well. And the right person won. We got a nice scene afterwards as well with Tommy Dreamer passing the torch to Eddie Edwards. That match was good enough. The Impact X Division Championship match. Every match had something. That was speed versus power. And I gotta say, they really made Matt Sydal look really, really, really good against Cage. that is about as good as someone looked against Brian Cage in Impact Wrestling in forever since he's been here. And Matt Sydal got in plenty of offense. There were times when it looked like he had the match won. And it was a phenomenal match. Cage gets the victory. The push continues for Cage. He deserves every bit of it, by the way. And I can't wait to see where they go next with Cage in the X Division. The Impact Knockouts Championship match. Su Yung defeating Madison Rayne. That was a decent match. Su Yung picking up the victory over an established veteran. Obviously, I wanted to see that. As I said before, we had the situation with Gail Kim where she got the title and retired, even though I didn't have that big a problem with that because it's Gail freaking Kim. She started the Knockouts division. That's another thing that I'm going to get on as well. This WWE Evolution. We need to talk about Gail Kim. So I'm going to say that for the podcast. Coming up this Friday, if I can do it. Friday, Saturday, one of the two. But moving on, the 51-50 street fight. Brutality. Left and right, and just one of those just brawls. It wasn't even a match. I like those matches where it's just a fight. Felt like I'm trying not to say gang war, but it was a gang war at a wrestling pay-per-view. That's what it felt like. With much athleticism as well. Even Big Hernandez, Hernandez still has it. Even going back to his TNA years, he's still big guy, can move around, can jump over the top rope, can do some topes with a guy that big, and it's very entertaining. And of course, LAX Flyers, especially Santana, is a flyer. And we got some great spots, and it was a phenomenal match. I really enjoyed it as LAX defeated the OGs. I thought the OGs would win here, but they set it up towards the fact that the OGs would lose and then dominate them after the match. So the feud continues that way. I figured that the OGs would win and the feud would continue that way, but I like the way that they set it up. The OGs should get the second match, and then we should have a third match. In my opinion, it should be at Bound for Glory, and that should be the settling match. LAX gets the victory, the feud is over. Looking at the mask versus hair match, man, goodness, those near falls were just incredible. Like, when Pentagon did the power driver on the chairs, I thought, okay, the package power driver on the chairs, I was like, okay, there's no topping that. It's over. And they topped it with the arm breaker and package power driver to end the match. So that was just a phenomenal match, man. Just great matches. It's just, you had no reason to move. You had no reason to get up during this pay-per-view. And the only regret I have personally is that I just didn't get a chance to watch it live. And looking at the Impact World Championship match, that was a whole lot better than expected as well. Some phenomenal spots. I expected it to be a good match, but not that great. But it was great. A lot of phenomenal spots. Moose throwing Aries into the crowd on the chairs. Well, excuse me, that was on security. Excuse me. And I really much enjoyed the match. It wasn't a BS finish. You know, in my heart, I've watched some Impact Wrestling, some TNA pay-per-views over the years, and they've had some good pay-per-views, and we get to that main event match, and there's just been some times where we have a unclean finish, and it just kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth. And I was hoping that, okay, I was like, man, this pay-per-view has been great. Let's just not end it on a bad note. And they ended on a good note. No BS, clean finish. I very much enjoyed that match, and the whole pay-per-view, just, my goodness, it's one of the best pay-per-views of the entire year. Arguably, I gotta say, like, in the top 3. It's around somewhere around the top 3, top 5, I gotta say. And if we're just counting WWE, their main stuff, it is the best pay-per-view of the year. Impact's main stuff versus WWE's main stuff. Impact's Slammiversary was clearly the best pay-per-view of the year because every match was hitting, and if every match didn't hit to where it was one of the matches of the night, it had a reason. It had sound booking, and it was enjoyable to the point to where you didn't get up and feel like it was a bathroom break match. So that is my thoughts on the pay-per-view overall. I loved it. It made me proud as an Impact fan, and it was just phenomenal. So looking at the reaction throughout the week, I've seen a lot of, well, Impact Wrestling is back. Well, I would tend to disagree with that because Impact Wrestling never left. You're just late to the party if you're saying Impact Wrestling is back. Impact Wrestling has been doing this. Now they're just getting the fame and acclaim for it and the glory. Now, what I will say is, if you're late to the party, if you haven't been watching, then hey, the party's here. Come on in. Better late than never. Come on in and watch with us. It's been fun. You have enjoyable wrestling here. There's no agendas. You don't feel like your wrestling intelligence is getting insulted when you watch Impact Wrestling. Look, it's not perfect, but no a wrestling company, no wrestling show is. It's just the fact that I can sit back on Thursdays and I know without a shadow of a doubt, my wrestling intelligence won't get insulted. I know that there's no hand-picked guy, no hand-picked gal, because Impact, the way they built their company, they build it on the fact that we're going to rely on everybody. That's why I always say that Impact Wrestling doesn't have a face of the company, because you can make the point that a bunch of people are the faces because they push a bunch of people wherever they are. In the main event, in the tag scene, in the knockouts division, it's kind of an old school WWF vibe where, and I'm not comparing the wrestlers, but I'm comparing the situations where WWF, you had Stone Cold up there, you had The Rock up there, but you had Undertaker in the mix, you had Kane in the mix, you had Mankind in the mix. You had plenty of guys in the mix. You had Triple H in the mix, Shawn Michaels in the mix, to where you really couldn't say that Stone Cold is getting pushed and everybody else is just down under his feet. He was the guy, but everybody was right there in the mix. That's what we have in Impact. We really don't even have a Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I say we, Impact Wrestling really doesn't even have a Stone Cold Steve Austin. They just have guys that are at the top with each other. So it's an enjoyable show to watch and check it out. Check it out. So at the end of the day, Impact Wrestling Slammiversary, as a wrestling fan that gets to sit back and watch wrestling and want to enjoy it with my heart, don't want to complain. It was just an enjoyable show. Impact Wrestling has been enjoyable over the last however many months. And I can't wait to see what's next. I'm going to see what's next on these tapings, and that is it. Let me know down below what did you think about Slammiversary. What do you think about Impact Wrestling overall? Just let me know.